lovely afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Big Picture Philippines podcast. I think we're live actually, and my name is Dave. My name is Dave, and your co-host of the Big Picture Philippines podcast. I'm with my co-host as well, Joseph. Hi, say hi, Joe.
Hi, everybody.
And this is another Friday, another day for learning, another day to get some great ideas about
Yes.
business, about investing, or anything that really makes us move forward and see the big picture. And our tagline has always been see, think, and act big, right?
Big.
Big.
And today, I am so honored to have uh, one of the people that we look up to here in Cebu, and we actually have been in contact with her for quite a while. But I don't know why we waited for the pandemic to make that
Yeah.
happen.
For
It would
the
have been great. It would have been great if we've met her like in person because we usually do this in person, Kim. So, nonetheless, I am so honored to introduce. She sent me a whole bio, a very lengthy one.
no, that's just pick out anything.
But I'm gonna pick upon the focus on this part, which is the Mrs. Clean, because this is all about a business podcast, and we're gonna talk about how she started back in 2016, right? Mrs.
Yeah.
Clean, a personalized housekeeping service that gives priority employment. This is what I love to returning OFW mothers and grandmothers. This business venture was born out of her background as a former medical student and a licensed physical therapist, and yeah, a licensed real estate broker as well. What a blend, right? And today
Yeah.
we're going to talk all about that, as well as anything, maybe we can insert some of the Korean drama thing in there.
Yeah.
Kim.
My
but
other.
but she's a mother, of course. She's a wife, and please help me welcome as our guest for this lovely afternoon, the beautiful, and I would say one of the. I think you're the first. Let me just let you discuss about that. But nonetheless, welcome, Kimberley Therese Gothong. Round
Right,
of
thanks
applause,
for
Welcome,
that
please.
Kim.
intro, Dave. Thank you for finding a more concise form of the bio I sent you. And good afternoon, everyone, and of course to Joe.
I
Good
was
Finally,
afternoon.
did
I
this.
was about to add beauty queen, but yes, as you can see, uh,
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
like a Jill of
Nonetheless,
all trades, no? Like all hopefully a master of some.
Kim,
yes.
yeah, I mean, glad to see you here.
See you
Finally in
virtually.
the virtually. Um we've been trying to make this happen since for a long time, and yeah, Dave's right. Like, we don't know what happened there. We always like have a schedule, and for some reason, but you know what? This is perfect because we're in a kind of unique situation. But before we go there, is there something you'd like to add to the bio that Dave just gave so that you can
Well,
just
I think
answer?
I think he introduced me like perfectly,
All right.
like all the facets of the personality and
Awesome. Okay,
all
so
the
how
notes.
about, because we're here for Mrs. Clean, right? So can you
Yeah.
walk us through how that business came about?
Well, actually, Dave mentioned that I was former medical student, so I stopped short when my third year started. I got married really early. You know, I'm a hopeless romantic. So I got married at 23. And then when I was younger, I always wanted to get married early, have kids early, and all that happened. So I decided to focus on my role as a wife and a mom. So I quit med school. And then after my first son was born, I was in some sort of existential crisis. I've always been an achiever growing up, and my dad is actually a very, he's the typical Asian tiger dad who pushes you to like do things and achieve things. And then like, it's not that I didn't enjoy being a wife and a mom, but there was something in me that, wanted to do something and, create something. So I had a short stint in one of the big real estate companies in Cebu, and I also worked for my in-laws company, real estate company. So it was my father-in-law who actually pushed me to take up the real estate brokerage exam, and that's why I took I took the exam and got my license. And then after, soon I took the exam when I was pregnant with my second child. So after that exam, I went for another hiatus again because with the issue of nannies and all, it's really hard to be a full time career woman and a full time mom. So at some point of the story or at some point of your journey, you really have to choose. And so yeah, I stopped again with the with what I was doing in real estate. I stopped after my second child was born. Then a few months after that, I was around October, November to 2000, October to November of 2016. That's when you know I was sort of like I was in an existential crisis about what I was supposed to do with my life, and at the same time, I also was encountering some problems at home. Number one, with the lack of house help.
Yeah.
There was just so much to do at home with no one to help me, and even if we were willing to like pay well, it was just hard to look for trustworthy and very capable housekeepers. And so that's when the eureka moment came to be like,
Wow.
why don't I start a housekeeping service on demand? So that's how it started.
Cool. Yeah, I mean, then what was the approach? Because like, before I knew you, I actually
Mhm.
saw the brand, like online. It has been there's something. Did you how did you plan out to spread the word
Yeah.
out?
So my first like draft, my first business model draft, I actually wrote it in the wee hours of the morning while breastfeeding. So I
Okay,
had this little notebook.
that's
So
cool.
I had, I had everything written down. Mission, vision, the the company core values and all. Even before I started to look for people, I had all those in mind na. So even the technical part, I really researched on housekeeping, and um, I have a medical background, so I tend to be very scientific with things, and I love to research. So yeah, I wrote it all down, and yeah, that's when the next steps just began to fall into place.
This is
Right.
this is interesting, Kim, because
Mhm.
a lot of, I mean, you have no, I would say, no background in
In
business.
business,
This
yeah.
was the first time, and all of a
Mhm.
sudden you're talking about mission, vision, company core values out of the notebook. So how did that happen? How can someone like that start?
Yeah.
Is it
Yeah,
about
yeah,
note
yeah.
taking back? Yeah.
Some people were wondering because I went to pre-med and then med, and then it's all science, no business. But actually, unknown to others, I went through a basic management program course in the Asian Institute
Mm.
of Management. This was a year before I started Mrs. Speed. And also, the way my dad raised me, my dad is like Chinese, very Chinese. And the way he raised me, I was very entrepreneurial as a child. And actually, before I decided to become a doctor, there were actually two paths. I wanted to also take up. I actually took up management in UP, but then my dad was like, "Be a doctor, be a doctor." So I shifted. So there was really that interest in business early on, but it was just like it was the medical field that I really pursued in terms of education.
So when you started, you wrote this down on a sheet of
Mhm.
paper. How did you? Because there's always a time to test the idea, right? So how did that
Yes.
come about? What was the first, I would say, first customer experience about look like?
Well, when I started hiring, I started with just two people. I had two of these returning OFWs. It was the two of them and me. So I know some. I love telling this story, but they'd be surprised. On our first booking, I actually cleaned. I cleaned with my cleaners.
Yeah.
So
Mm.
that's how hands on I started the business, and That's why,
Wow.
when people say Mrs. Clean, that's like, I
It's
also
really
like,
you.
look, yeah, it's really me. If somebody says Mrs. Clean, I'm like, oh, it's me. It's like saying Kim.
Right.
This is interesting because a lot of us, and I don't know, I don't know your background and all of that, and but you're a wife, you're a mother as well, and there you
Mhm.
are hustling, really, diba? You're the front line at that time
Yeah,
and really
frontline,
cleaning.
a frontline.
So you learn all of these cleaning things, yeah, can you tell us a bit about Muna? Like how does Mrs. Clean differ from all of those things? How do you work? What's different? Do you wear
Yeah.
something? Do you have all these tools and all that? Can you
Yeah.
can you share a bit to
Well,
our
first and
audience what it
foremost,
looks like?
like what really sets Mrs. Clean apart, and I'm happy that you mentioned it, is we're a social enterprise. And
Mm.
we employ returning OFW mothers and grandmothers. So when I started, I was actually approaching a blue zone, because when it comes to cleaning, in 2016, what came into mind were janitorial services, right?
Mm.
Contractual janitorial services. You wouldn't, it wasn't so known. I mean, compared to now that we have a lot of similar businesses in the market. In 2016, we were somewhat new, so it was unknown pa to like text or call that I need someone to clean my house tomorrow, and then it was that fast. Or I need someone to clean my studio unit. So before that, the bigger companies wouldn't take these smaller spaces because they were bigger contracts in that. And then what really sets us apart also is that we're a business full of women. So 90% of my workforce are women. Yeah. And then
Interesting.
the youngest one is 40 years old. So imagine. So that pa lang, they know they're the akes and the nanays. And that's what really like sets us apart, when I talk to our clients, when I talk to our customers, and they tell me that one of the primary reasons why they're very loyal to the company is because of its mission. Even
Mm.
more than the branding, which I've had people compliment me for it, for Mrs. Clean, but it's really the mission that sets us apart.
Kim,
This is
why did you decided to go with employing returning OFWs? What's the idea behind that?
Yeah, so when I started Mrs. Clean, of course, I named it Mrs. Clean, diba? So the idea was really to hire female cleaners. And then I put job ads in my Memo and then Job Street. And then when I was reviewing all the applications, it surprised me to find a lot of former OFWs applying. And so with a with a with all these applications, I decided, why don't I interview these returning OFWs first and really hear their story? And that's when I heard na these returning OFWs pala, when they come back to their cities, to their provinces, they find it hard to look for employment. Number one, because of their age, because they come back in their 40s and their 50s. Second is because of their experience, like um, or educational attainment, because it's pretty hard to look for a job as a college graduate. What more if you're a high school graduate, right? And then third is because they're women. We just can't negate the fact that there are some occupations that really lean towards male applicants. So that's when I realized, now, why don't I give this underserved sector of society a chance to work? A job, an honorable job, where they're well paid, or where they're not exploited, and where they're taken care of.
You know
yeah,
what I really like about your business, Kim, is that you're very consistent with your messaging. You're very consistent with what you stand for, and it's all like I talk to you in person, right? I will over online,
Yeah, over
and
mess.
you've
Yeah.
you've always been very consistent with like your ethos, right? I remember this one time where there was like a clamping in one of
Yeah.
your brands, and
One of the most memorable.
can you talk about that? And then how did that? Because I feel like that was
I,
a really
re-
good
I
display.
remember that. I
You
remember
We
remember
that.
that,
remember
right?
that. A lot of people remember. A lot of people remember that. We
I,
just
I will
had
tell
our
you, I
second
associated that to
anniversary.
you. So yeah,
Yeah.
please
Thank you
walk
for
us through.
bringing that up. Yeah, that was Mrs. Clamp. I was Mrs. Mrs. Clamp. Well, our former mayor, our very well loved and well respected former mayor Tomas Osmeña, during his time, um, they were so particular. Well, Sito was very particular with road rules, which of course I respected because lesser traffic violations also meant lesser accidents, diba? So this was in the area near Park Lane, that
Yeah.
busy area going to Ayala near the flyover. And like I think my then driver was in a hurry, so I think he turned turned to the left too tight. So he was caught in the middle of the road, and then bang, he was ticketed for counterflowing. And then on the night of that incident, I saw there Mrs. Clamp with a picture of our vehicle in the mayor's
With
official
your
Facebook
logo. With your
page, and
logo on it.
our logo, which was so
What a good
distinctive.
marketing.
So yeah, I was literally crying. Like some people didn't know na they thought I was really composed and all, but the first reaction when I saw that on the Facebook page of Mayor Thomas Mania, I was crying because it was number one. I mean, I'm a sucker for rules, Magud. Like if you knew
Yeah.
me in person, like I'm very type A with rules, and well, type A with everything. And I'm like, I've never been ticketed in my life, in my whole like 10 years of driving. So that was like, oh, that was something. And then to be broadcasted by that in that magnitude, then in that kanang album of cars pag yun, I was the only one with the big logo. All of those were like private cars. So when I was scanning, nobody even like noticed all of them. But under the Mrs. Clamp, like a lot of people made fun.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I could just imagine what you went through, but you know what? I will say like that's probably one of the biggest comeback when you reposted
Yeah.
that, and you had this really wonderful post, and it's going back to the ethos again of like, yeah,
Mhm.
we really want to follow the rules, and you did explain a little bit, but then it also showed like how. So I was reading that, I was thinking about you. I'm like, oh my goodness, Kim is so composed at this. She's really doing, responding really well instead of like, fighting back and all these things. I
Yeah.
mean, I think that one of the comment I saw was you were being I would say like one of the kind of like someone said like I hope a lot of business owners are like this or respond
Mhm.
this way. So
Mhm.
how did you like? Can you walk us through with that
What went
response?
on in
Yeah,
my
and then yeah,
mind during
and
that
also
time.
like what's the effect to that also with how people dealt with you. I there is such effect.
Well, my first instinct actually was really to apologize, to own up to the mistake, instead of, I didn't know what was gonna come out of it, but I wanted to apologize and I wanted to take responsibility, in business, high functioning organizations, there's such a thing you call as command responsibility. And that was the perfect moment to show what command responsibility really was. I wasn't the one behind the wheel, but that was my company's car. And yeah, I took the bullet, and then I apologized, and I I conveyed my respect for the ordinances, my respect for the upholding of laws, for the common good. And thankfully, it came back positively. Yeah.
Yeah, it was. I mean, the mayor himself commended you.
Yeah,
I
that was
think
like the best unexpected free marketing.
that was great.
Yeah,
Exactly.
I ever received.
Wow, that was amazing. There was like thousands, right? Thousands of people
Yeah,
commented on that, and then I
and
don't know.
shared
I
it.
did
People
and
I didn't
shared it,
know.
and
Yeah.
and it was, to be honest with you, your response was the like the way people reacted was very positive. They commended you,
Mhm.
and the mayor himself, I think, even reposted it on his
Yeah, we
wall,
posted it. Yeah, and that
where
even
like millions of people
even
are
put
probably watching
our
that.
contact info. It was really,
That's free marketing.
That's
Yeah,
amazing.
and it all boils down, I guess, to, I don't know, maybe being consistent. Maybe you can add into this, Kim,
mm-mm.
being consistent with what your message is really is. But this is one thing I want to point out because I don't know Yeah, I haven't tried Mrs. Clean yet. For all of you guys who are watching this and have tried Mrs. Clean, comment or let us know on the comment section, right? But I can assume, assume, right, that your business really tops the customer service. Is this true to you? Is this, I mean, it does it resonate throughout and how you handle your clients and
Yeah.
yeah, with this whole branding? Can you tell us more about that?
I'm very hands-on in the thought na like I know if this toilet bowl has been cleaned well, even if I'm just at home up until now. And we used to travel a lot, well, pre-pandemic, and every Christmas season, my in-laws and I would be abroad, but I'd be on my phone 24/7 despite the changing time zones. Like up to now, I still respond to some of the customer inquiries, and it's always been my well one of our company values. I mean, two of our company values are being excellent and being customer oriented. You know, because when you're in the business of service and you do not like serve your customers well, or you completely suck at customer service, so what's the point? So that's like one of our, if not the northern stars, you know, customer satisfaction.
How do you keep up? Because now you've grown, right?
Mhm.
From the two staff that
Yeah.
you hired, how do you make sure that the quality is still the same? Do you take photos? What are the measures that you have?
Yeah, we take photos. We have monthly feedbacking and daily feedbacking. So we have performance evaluations. Some of my cleaners were actually surprised with how professionally run the organization is, because most of them, they're domestic helpers. Diba? You know,
Mm.
working in a home is completely different
Right.
from working in a, you know, organized business. So they were they were very surprised, especially when my husband, who I appointed as the um, chief executive officer and the chief human resources officer, he does Q2 sessions with him. Q2, this is derived from Stephen Covey's four quadrants, you know.
Yeah.
I love
The
that.
second
Yeah.
quadrant, which
Second
is
point.
not urgent but important,
Non-urgent, important.
but
Yeah.
important. So they were surprised. It was the first time that their employer actually took time to learn more about their lives, to,
Right.
you know,
Mm.
learn more about them, because we believe na whatever, if my cleaners make a mistake in work, or if their performance is uh, not at par with what they're used to, we always believe that there's an
Right.
underlying problem at home, underlying problem in their personal relationships. And with this investment we have in them, in their person, in their lives, um, it also came naturally that they were us invested into the with the company. So it was natural for them to give their best. And second also is that, how do I keep the standards? Well, I know if I didn't keep the standards, would be 100 cleaners and out, if
Mm.
that was what I wanted. But
You
now
would
we're
haven't grown.
just
You have grown so
a
fast,
lot,
maybe
and then a
too
lot
fast.
have offered me like I've had a lot of like franchising offers, but well, I'm very particular with company culture, and I'm very particular with the attitude and the personality of the leader, of the owner. And Mrs. Clean, you know that the company values are that important. My best friend, like best friend told me na it's very hard to franchise or copy Mrs. Clean, because it's like now every fiber of my being is sewn into the company, like my values, even the words I use, you know, what I hold
Uh,
dear, it's all there.
Right.
Yes.
Yeah. I mean, I feel that too. Talking to you and looking at the messaging in your social
Mm.
media. I mean, it's to me it's very consistent. And when you said you're type A with everything, it honestly really shows. Like, and but the other thing is not just being type A. I just feel like you care. To be honest, like my impression is you care a lot with your customer, and
With
then
my
you care
people,
a lot with your
I
people. So
care.
that's what I
yeah.
feel like every time I
Yeah.
Mm.
see your post, your page post. So That's something that's very consistent. Let me just move over the conversation to what happened when the pandemic started, because it definitely, you were right hit smack in the middle, right? Your industry.
Yeah, very, very much so.
Can you walk us through
So
like what are the changes and what happened there?
yeah, I will. So I think the first proclamation of the quarantine was mid-March, right? I think it
Right.
was March 18 or something. So
Yeah. Maybe
that was a
16
long
and
time
then on the
ago.
18 or something. Yeah.
So, yeah, so been in lockdown for so long. And anyways, that was around March 18. On the first day that the quarantine was implemented, we really had to close. Some people couldn't understand it because number one, people were very frantic with cleaning their houses and establishments with the thought of the
Right.
coronavirus, seeping into Philippine shores. I closed number one because it was a completely unknown virus. I mean, we didn't know how virulent it was. We didn't
Mm.
know how widespread it was. And of course, because if you really think about it, cleaners, housekeepers, janitors, they're frontliners. So
Right.
I was weighing the amount of risk I was going to put my people into with the gains. It was just not worth it.
So sorry, Kim, you're saying that you actually have an option to stay open.
Yeah, we had the option to stay open because we were
Wow.
one of the allowable
Right.
Yeah,
industries. Yeah. But
amazing.
then it was too early pa in the course of the pandemic, a lot of the unknown. We didn't know like what were the best practices, what were the best
Right.
harm reduction measures. So I opted to really close completely on March, I think that was March 18. And we finally opened in June when we had I think it was an MECQ or an MGCQ
Yeah.
somewhere. I got lost in translation with all, with all the terms. So
Exactly.
we opened, and then what I did during the whole course, so we were closed from mid March to April and then to the whole month of May. I was giving allowances lang to my cleaners, of course, because they had to stay afloat. But at the same time, I was still working on how to open a business because, well, if I were to think about myself, it was really easier if I'd stay close. I mean, it was a source of like anxiety every day how I was going to open my business and also keep my people safe,
Right.
and then I would pep talk myself at you cannot close, you can close. I mean, it's easier diba, to do a lot of other things na you don't have to think a lot or care a lot, but then that's me. I care a lot. I care a lot. I always care a lot. So what was in my mind was that if we close, we'd be adding to the unemployment, and then if we close, my my employees would definitely find it hard to look for a job elsewhere because everyone else were
Yeah.
losing their jobs. So my objective was to fine tune all our procedures, all our protective equipment, all the new equipment we were gonna bring in. Um, I studied a lot. I went back to my medical my medical roots. So yeah, I changed a lot. We changed our procedures. So I'm very, very, very particular with our procedures. It's like I'm a nagger now with their like mask, with hand washing, with everything. And then we were also the first ones to like really employ even before the government required to use face shields. My cleaners were all in PPEs, masks, face shields, gloves, shoe covers, and all
Awesome.
those. We introduced a lot of. I studied a lot of cleaning chemicals. What was the best that actually had an effect on SARS-CoV-2? I'm getting nerdy now, so I'm gonna stop. So that was it. So yeah, we opened in June, and unfortunately, also only about 6 of our cleaners were able to come back from the original 20. Number one, because
Oh,
most
okay.
of them, when the quarantine hit, their first action was to go home to their provinces. And then also some of them who had other family members who were working, they were scared to come back to work. So especially those who had like other family members who were working, they were told stay. Why don't you just stay at home and wait it out? So when we opened again, we were just 6, so it was a lot of adjustment also. And again, the news of again the lockdown. So we were closed again and then open again, and
Yeah.
and then finally now we're about open for about 2 months already, and we've doubled the number that we've opened with. And so far,
Wow.
what I did also
So you're saying like
differently.
it's performing well, yeah, even during like at this time, the
Yeah,
demand
well,
is
at
high.
first I wouldn't lie that at the first week that we opened in June, it was really slow. Number one, because I think people were really scared to, invite
Hire
strangers
someone,
to their homes,
right?
diba? Like, you're in quarantine, and why would you
Yeah.
invite, strangers
Yeah,
at your
how did
homes?
you go about that, Kim? Can you check? Can you share? How did you
Yeah, so what we did is
convince them?
convince them. So what we did is we did health screening, we did testing, and full PPE, like super particular. And then what I also did was those who came from hotspots, I advised them not to come to work. Wait it out. Those who had a lot of contact tracing, I did a lot of contact tracing on my employees. And then also for my employees protection, um, I had when they came back, I had them go through another round of physical examination, lab tests, because diba?
Right.
Hypertension and diabetes are like top two comorbidities that spell,
Right.
really a bad case of COVID. So I made sure all of them were healthy. I got them their flu shots. Up to now, I give them vitamins every day. So a lot
Yeah,
has changed. It
and
also
you
costs a
made
lot
sure.
more. Yeah.
Yeah, made
It,
sure and showing it to your clients as well, right?
yeah. Yeah. What are we doing differently?
Yeah.
What steps are we taking? How far do we go to make sure that you and your family are safe? Because I always tell my cleaners now, when we go there, when we clean, we should be bringing them solutions. We shouldn't be bringing them anxiety.
Right.
So act,
Yeah, I love that.
yeah, act as if that was your family. Act responsibly. So I think that helped a lot. They're very, diba? I know you see a lot of people like not following the protocols, the health protocols, but I'm
Mm.
telling my cleaners na we're the business of cleaning. First and foremost, we should be the ones to uphold those cleanliness and health protocols. So I think that helped. Again, going back to the messaging and the consistency.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
love
I
that.
just wanna I just wanna ask a little bit of the big picture of the business, and if you don't mind sharing, Kim,
Mm.
like how are we looking at with the clientele? So how does this whole? Because I'm curious as well. I don't know. Joe
Mm.
might have an idea already. How does it work? Do you have like suki, or how does this whole clientele work with B2B, or is it directly to
Yeah.
personal homes,
Consumers,
or
yeah. Oh, yeah.
consumers? Yeah.
Well, we have a lot. We started with just condos. So what was in my mind when I first opened was we started with condos. And then along the way, a lot of opportunities, opened up. So we did houses na. We did offices, we did restaurants. And like
Oh, even
right now,
restaurants.
we've actually, our client base is so varied na we've cleaned schools, we've cleaned gyms, we've cleaned clinics, cemeteries. We've done
Seriously?
that
Wow.
for
Really?
me right. Yeah, cemeteries.
Wow.
And we've actually also did inter-island cleaning, would you believe?
What's
Like,
that?
What?
a
You
client called us and told us, like, we're in Bohol, I want you to clean my new house. And it
Oh
was like
my
an all
goodness.
expense paid trip for my cleaners. So that was like one of the best, services we've ever done. So
Experience.
like I was like amazed at how much trust and how much trust and belief she had in my company that she'd actually pay a premium. The
right.
cleaning service
Mm.
is already premium, and
Right.
then block my service and bring it to her island and clean.
Yeah.
So that was also a very very good compliment, I think. So that we're that varied now, and we also deal with. You mentioned about Suki, so we deal with a lot of real estate developers with their
Oh wow. This is a really good
condo
business.
units, restaurants for their regular cleaning, a lot of offices also, especially now with COVID-19, that they need more professionalized cleaning.
Yeah. That's amazing, Kim.
Mm-mm.
One maybe one question for me would be I'm also in the kind of customer facing type business,
Mm-mm.
and I I'm familiar with the pressure kind of just monitoring and just
Yeah.
I guess I don't know how many complaints you get. I get that a lot. It lands on my phone, or like some concern, something in the business would just go haywire, and just do troubleshooting.
Yeah.
Do you have that, and how do you keep yourself kind of, I would say, it's still fresh, and to handle a little bit of the stress.
Yeah. Well, of course, a bottle of beer a day would help. Well, just joking. Maybe every other day. But going back to being more serious. Well,
Good one.
being in the going back to being in the service industry, one thing that I really, am, because I'm a natural people pleaser. As I said, I'm type A and everything. But one thing I really had to drill into my head again and again is that we cannot please everybody.
Right.
And that helped me a lot because, of course, even though we try our best, complaints will always come, diba? Different expectations. Maybe there are even just times that the client just had a bad day and then
Yes.
they lash it out.
Yeah.
Just the perfect storm
Diba?
for them.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you can relate. Like, that's one of the skills also that I've learned along the way in the last 4 years is that I've learned to compartmentalize complaints. I mean, there were complaints that were completely understandable, rational, and then there were also complaints that no matter how much you try to make up, I mean, it's irrational. And then with these complaints now, which are somewhat irrational, I try to give way because, it's just not worth the stress. And then these complaints that are more founded, I really try my best to make it up. My manager would tell me, Miss, I'm gonna speak in Bisaya. Miss, more gasto, balkansi man ta, Miss, man. It's okay because if we correct this now, this is gonna turn around this whole thing for us. The returns are gonna be better. And true enough, more when we gave the extra mile in this particular project, when we tried to right the wrongs, we've gained loyal customers along the way.
Right.
So, I mean, going back to you can't please everybody. You just gotta pick your battles in terms of
Right.
these complaints.
What I found out also, like if I mean, depending on the person, but normally this is a situation. If you try your best and people on the client will see that, they normally just kind of appreciate that. Like they will understand that, okay, this is just a perfect spot. And you're able to turn it around. So that's really great. But it all starts with, and this is something I would like to commend you. It all starts with this consistency and just really knowing, what you really want, what the business looks like, what you really want business to go or to be perceived upon. Also, I think right, you have this vision of I want my company to be perceived as such, right? And you're very very consistent in implementing that. So that's amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah, so you've mentioned earlier, Kim, that you have your CEO and all that. How does the team look like right now? Like, how many people are in there? I believe you have a digital marketing person, I believe. Is that important?
I'm the digital marketing person.
Oh, you're the one posting.
I'm customer service.
So that's why, Kim.
We're a very
Seriously?
Yeah, we're a very.
You're the one posting on your Facebook page.
Yeah.
Oh, interesting.
All
Even the
time.
graphics and all that.
Yeah.
And also, that's amazing, guys. For all of you watching right now, I mean, this is it, right? This is a business that you are really working. You are you're the one who's facing, posting, and all of that stuff. And I think that's really important with any business. So you just hire. You have your cleaners, and that's it. No other.
Well, I have a general manager.
Right.
I think she's watching. Hi, Claire. So
Claire.
Hi, Claire.
I've been in consistent ECQ, so I haven't been to the office since March, and I really owe it to Claire. So Claire has been with me for 2 years, and she also loves the business the same way that I do. So she's the general manager, and then I just employed admin assistant. But before the pandemic, we also had somebody who did the HR and admin.
All right.
Aside
Yes.
from this. So we're just leaner now, number one, because our HR and admin officer who I really love personally. She didn't come back now because of homeschooling. So she decided to just
Oh.
homeschool her child in the province. So
Oh,
yeah, but we're very
grabe. It really
very
impacts,
neat.
no?
You know, there was a time I was also a driver.
You were
Like
the one driving
I was
people.
the one
So you were
driving them
cleaning,
around.
you were driving, you're a
Yeah,
social
I was
media,
driving. I was taking
you're
on
the
calls.
CEO.
Yeah, and I also so all around. Um, One thing I would attribute that to is also I'm very tihik. I'm very tihik. When we were starting, but I like keep the team lean. The things that you can do by yourself, just do it.
That's
Just
Yeah.
amazing.
expand. Mm-mm.
Quick question, Kim. If you were to offer
Mm-mm.
the services right now to our audience, so what's like the
Mm-mm.
starter kit for that? How should I like if I want to have my house clean or condo clean? What does the usual go-to rate for that?
For our new normal rates, we start at 1,400. So actually, a lot has changed from pre-COVID and now with our new normal. Before we had two types of cleaning. We had quick clean and a deep clean. The quick
Mm.
clean was just like maintenance, fast, just a little sweeping, a little organizing. But then we realized na with all the things, with all the germs and the virus that's all around us, we couldn't, shortcut cleaning. So we did just deep clean. We're just doing deep clean for now. And that's with UVC
Mm.
sterilization already using UVC light. So we start at 1,400. That's already the deep clean plus the UVC disinfection. And from that price, that's for a 30 square meter below room or condo. And
Oh,
then
okay.
it goes higher. And then we also have some add-ons like one of the services that uh, we really are known for also are like upholstery shampooing.
Mm.
Yeah, so we do the whole lineup of cleaning procedures. So that's where we start that rate.
And you
Yeah.
also use the best tools because I
Yeah,
inquired.
You invest on those, right? You
Those
invest on
are,
those
yeah,
tools.
the rainbow
yeah,
vacuum.
rainbow vacuum, yeah.
It's like more expensive than a multi-cab, but you had to
What?
it's
Yes,
like a
yes,
vacuum that's like more expensive than a multi-cab, but nothing beats the best equipment. I mean,
correct.
you can really feel, not only see the difference, but feel the difference. I mean, this type
Mm.
of vacuum, I have really bad allergic rhinitis, and I use the same vacuum at home. It really helps a lot. So if my clients, they come back to me and they say na, ay, kaysa mapalit na may rainbow vacuum, ay, magpalimpi na lang minimo. Di man sa me everyday mag-rainbow vacuum. Diba? Why would they buy
That's true.
something
Wow,
that,
yeah, that's a good
Yeah,
that's a good point, right?
I researched on that, Kim, and I was like, oh my goodness, this is so expensive. Let's just hire someone who has it.
yeah. And then, di ba,
Yeah.
the handling, the maintenance, it's a whole new
Exactly.
headache altogether. It's kind of
But
so
yeah,
yeah, why don't you
that's
hire
awesome.
people?
Yeah. And before we move to our lightning round, Kim, which is
Mm.
like a series of quick questions. I just
Yeah.
want to point out to everyone watching this, especially our audience, because most of them might be starting a new business or has already
Mm-mm.
been, seasoned business owner.
Mm-mm.
But it's really good to point out that this specific business, cleaning business, it's not like it's not like people has no idea about this. This is I think if I would say it, a lot of people are can start this in a way because
Yeah.
but you made it happen, and in fact there's a need. Like you've been to Bohol. So in short,
Yeah.
wala sa Bohol, 'di ba?
Inter-island.
Yeah. So there was a need, and all of a sudden it was untapped. There
Mm-mm.
was no one out there serving it, and now we have Mrs. Clean, and thank God for
Mm-mm.
Mrs. Clean. Now we have all of these services, and people are asking for this kind of service. I want to point that out because a lot of our listeners might be thinking there are no business ideas out there, when in
Mm-mm.
fact
Yeah.
here you are showing to us that the traditional janitorial business could be transformed into
Yeah,
this
and we.
like yeah. One quick question from that. How did you do the market research? Did you see anyone doing this outside the country or maybe in Manila? I don't know. So how did you do that if
Yeah.
it's viable
So
or not?
well, before I did the market research, the idea really, popped in my mind from that need, what they say about entrepreneurs. They're really like looking for solutions with society's needs, society's problems. So that was number one problem for me, the need for house help. And it was also a problem among the people I know, my family, my friends, colleagues. It was all the same problem over and over again. And you hear a lot of horror stories about
Mm.
why don't you just, make a why don't you just have this like on demand cleaning, premium cleaning done by well-trained cleaners. Actually,
Professionals.
I forgot to mention it. All my cleaners are with Tesla certificates housekeeping. So
Oh
they're
wow.
really, really a notch higher than your regular. So I think that's really how you start. You address a need in society, and then you when that idea came about, I started researching in Cebu and I couldn't find any. But in Manila, it was a thing. It was a thing na pala at that
Mm.
time when I started. There were quite a couple of big names of big players in Manila, and then I checked their pricing and I was like, maybe it would go a little lower. Kay,
Ah.
what they
Yeah,
say na
perfect.
Cebuanos are a little stingy, which is
Yeah,
not
we're,
really
we're a bit, we're a bit,
a
we're definitely a
little,
bit stagey.
yeah.
A little
But
bit,
that's how I started, and
and,
it was
and a
a
little
lot
bit
of,
demanding also.
yeah, a little bit demanding also, especially people, just joking. That's why they really want to call me, like. Anyways,
Anyhow.
yeah, so I'd love to tell you, Dave, that I really did like super by the book business school market research, but a lot of it when I started was really just gut feel.
Yeah.
I did a little research, but I wouldn't say that it was really, really how MBA type of market research. No, it
Yes.
wasn't. It was, yeah,
I mean,
it was
hopefully our
a lot of
listeners
that.
would get inspiration out of that because that's it.
Mhm.
I mean, if no matter, the best business ideas are actually in front of us and we just,
Yeah.
have to grab it. Right?
Mhm.
So, Joe,
Let's get
Kim, are
into
you ready? We're going to move
Oh my
on to
gosh, what
our
kind?
our lightning round.
lightning round.
Okay,
So
so for
these
those,
are a series of questions, right,
right,
that we ask
yeah,
always, all the time. And you can answer this as quickly as you can, or maybe you can expound a bit more in a minute or less. Just kidding. It's up to you.
Is there a
So,
bell?
Joe, not really. So, Joe, would you like to ask the first
I'll,
question?
I'll ask the first question. Kim,
Okay.
do you have a morning routine? And if you have, what would can you share it to us?
Well, the first thing that I do when I wake up is to check if my kids are awake, because all my three kids like sleep beside me, and of course, freshen up a little, and then check my phone for any clients,
Yes.
Yeah.
any emergencies at work, and then prepare breakfast. I pray. We pray as a family. I think that's also one thing I'd like to add. Also, with the secret behind Mrs. Clean's
Mm,
success is the faith part of it all, and how we
yeah.
persevere through faith. So that's how my day looks like. Then um, a lot of my morning is really just spent with the kids, because I have three small kids like to be spoon fed. So
Oh,
yeah, that's a
yeah.
lot of I wish I had more arms in the morning. So yeah, so that's how my morning looks
Yeah.
like.
Yeah, really a
So,
super
Kim,
mom.
yeah, super mom.
Mm-mm.
And that's good because hopefully the business or allowed you to be present with your kids. I think that's all the goal of us,
Yeah.
to be present and to be there for our loved ones. So speaking of that, who or what inspires you, Kim? Pang Miss
Well,
Universe
my
lang, no?
my kids and my yeah. Para kanino ka bumabangon? Is it the
Yeah,
Yeah.
Nescafe ad pa?
yeah,
Well, first and
your
foremost, my
kids.
family, of course, the family that I made, the family that I was born into, and of course, the family that I found in Mrs. Clean. Those are the people
Mm,
I really, get up for in the morning, and just I haven't had, I can't remember the last time I had a morning in. I wake up. I haven't. used an alarm clock for years.
Wow,
It's
that's
like,
great.
my responsibilities wake me up.
Oh, I love that. I
Did
love
they
that.
did they
Yeah.
invade your dreams also, Kim?
Oh, they do. They do. I get
Really a type
nightmares.
A, very classical type A, Kim.
Yeah.
We should
um,
talk about we should talk with someone, Joe, who's an expert of this type A and type whatever,
exactly.
right?
I
Like,
mean, I want to know. I'm also like for the benefit. If you haven't heard me talk about it, I'm also type A. Dave, I don't know if you're type A, but yeah, we're
I don't know.
like it invades. These
But you
things
can
invade my
relate.
dream.
You
I
can
can relate
relate.
to that. Ken, so you're definitely a person who does research, and
Mm.
you just want to find out like what's the best
Mm.
solution and best practices, right? So one way question, what this question would be, if there's a resource that you can that that you think our audience needs to either watch or listen to or read, what would it be
Pertaining to
pertaining to this business, running a
this
business?
business.
Yeah. Or
Well,
maybe being a mom. Yeah, whatever
anything.
resource. Yeah.
Well, I still think the best of my business practices and business ideas came from what I learned from the Asian Institute of Management. I took two programs under them,
Mm,
and actually yesterday I was fortunate enough to be invited to participate in a master class, and it was very very apt. I think that's why they also invited me, because it was um, leading and scaling impactful social enterprises, and they're offering a lot of free webinars right now. So if you're
Yeah.
an aspiring entrepreneur, an aspiring um, business person, why don't you just follow their page and look out for a topic that might really inspire you? Because a lot of things I've learned from AIM I implement up until now. Even my marketing strategies.
mm,
I love my marketing professor in AIM, and I employ a lot of the things I've learned from him with
that's
Mrs. Clee.
amazing.
Mm-mm.
That's great.
Yes, that's
Yeah,
I'll
great.
definitely follow that.
yeah.
Yeah,
Follow
we'll
their
check
page. They
that
have a
out.
lot of yeah.
Check that out. Yes, and yeah, my next question is, Kim, do you consider yourself successful?
Well, in my own metrics of success, I'd like to say that I am. I mean, I'm in the point of my life where I've found the perfect balance of being a wife, being a mother, being a businesswoman, and a driver of social good. So I couldn't
Mm,
ask for anything more. I mean, um, money wise, maybe there are a lot of more successful businessmen
yeah,
and businesswomen out there, but to be able to reach this sort of equilibrium in all things that I hold dear, then I'd say this is what success looks like. Although I say, going back to being type A, there is still a lot more that I can
Yes.
do, but I still consider
yeah.
and celebrate the small successes, like where I
I
am in
love
my
that
life.
point of view. I love that point of
Yeah.
view. Right?
Yeah, I like that because sometimes when we talk about success, we just look at mostly the financial aspect of it,
Hmm.
but the reality of the situation is, like a human being is pretty much complex. There's an emotional, spiritual, physical,
Yeah,
and to me,
aspect. Mm-hmm.
there's a lot of aspects, right? And so that you're right, like that equilibrium, that place of finding not just balance, but really addressing like the different aspect of a human being
Mm-hmm.
and succeeding on each aspect. That to me is like the ninja level of success, right? So speaking of who keeps you or what keeps you motivated and sharp, mostly sharp, right? Especially business wise.
Business wise, well, I still read up a lot on current market trends. I although I tend to focus on myself on my business, I also look to other businesses who are in a similar industry, where they are, what they're doing. Um, but then I also come back to my center. I come back to it's really because I'm so hands on. I really look at every part of my business, and I'm not a believer of sige na lang, that attitude of okay na ni.
Mm,
It's always not. There's still so much we can do. I mean, especially in terms of serving our clients, there's still so much we can improve on. And that's what keeps me motivated. And of course, I see this over and over again. Number one motivator for me to make Mrs. Clean succeed is really my people. Because when you look at the news and you see the unemployment rates, I wouldn't want to add to that. So when I reopened Mrs. Clean back in June, I actually reinvested, poured in a significant amount of money to keep it running again. New equipment, a lot of rentals, a lot of fees that weren't waived. So it took a significant amount of money, but then I always go back to, I want my people to keep their jobs. And I think that's the number one motivator.
I love that. The fact that to me, that's one of the, I would say, the contributions of entrepreneurs, right? Be able to help other people in the process of, building the dream and the company. And so allowing other people also to not just to work for that dream, but with that dream, and also they get the benefit. So I think we had this conversation before, wherein like during the pandemic, I was honestly concerned, highly concerned, on the fact that people are every single business are a lot of the businesses are closing down.
Yeah, I know a lot. I know
like, an economic aspect. I'm like, I don't know how we're gonna pull this back. I mean, how are we gonna get back to if there's
our feet,
right? If there's such thing as going back to that place where prior to the pandemic, but the economic aspect. And I don't know if we had this conversation where I said like, I know that if there's a group of people who can help us get back, these are the entrepreneurs, because we're the one who can think about complex solutions to idea. I mean to problems, right? And there you go. You're saying, I really like what you said. You're saying like, I need to do this because my people needs to get back on their feet also. So that's really commendable.
I love that.
Thank you.
Entrepreneurial is really a big factor here in our economy, right? And so
true.
speaking of that, for those of people who wants to start business, perhaps Kim, or we started this podcast with the thought of like, I think we share the same mission with this, where we really put our minds into the OFW, or those who are working with a job that they don't really are passionate about.
Yeah.
So what are your tips for those who might want to take the leap to start a business, or just improve their lives? What's your number one tip?
My number one tip would probably, be just take the first step. I mean, a lot of us have great ideas, winning ideas, but it takes really it takes guts, a certain level of courage, and a certain type of risk taking to really start a business. And I know it's doubly hard now in this pandemic because there are a lot of unknowns. There were a lot of business ideas that would have worked well pre-pandemic, and then those beautiful, brilliant ideas might not work now. So what I could advise to the budding entrepreneurs is, to just be very flexible, to really listen to what the world needs, or maybe start where you are. Listen to what your community needs and look for that problem and come up with that solution and do something about it. Take the first step, take the first leap. I mean, it's not always a success. I mean, even if like with Mrs. Clean, you see, I mean, a lot of people have been commenting us about how successful we've become, how we've totally changed the market. But in between the 4 years, there were a lot of missteps. There were a lot of losses. There were times when we were negative, especially when we started. But it's all part of that journey, and that's it. You just take the first step and then never give up. Just keep swimming.
I
think
love
that's
that.
it.
Just keep swimming.
I like that.
All
I like
right.
that.
That's from Finding Nemo.
Is it? I was thinking
Yeah, it
I've
is.
been
Just
watching a
keep
lot
swimming.
of
which movie was that?
my Disney
Kim,
references.
Kim, I definitely had a lot of notes here with me while you're talking. So thank you so much. But before we go, this is my last question for in the
Yes.
lightning round. Where can people find more about you and your business if they want to inquire about the services of Miss Clean? Can you share it to us?
Yeah, so we're probably one of the new businesses that really leveraged on social media. So you can find us on Facebook and on Instagram. Um, Facebook has been the best portal for us. We've connected to a lot of clients there, and we've also found new businesses through Facebook. So our page is Mrs. Clean Housekeeping Services, and on Instagram we're Mrs. Clean Cebu. So most probably I'll be the one. If not Claire, then it's me who you'll be talking to. Yes. And
So
before I used to put my personal cell phone number. I was that hands on, and then lately I realized it's not a very good idea with 3 kids. So yeah,
Yeah.
that's
yeah,
that's
that's good.
their answering our mobile. And
Yeah, so if you need to chat to Kim, you have to go through to Mrs. Clean.
yeah.
But yeah, so
Mm-mm.
this is amazing, and I just want to get those links. By the way, once it comes out to our website, you can find those at thebigpicture.ph/episode 75. So you're the 75th Kim, and I just want to
Yeah.
give a shout out to those who are watching with us. We have a couple of people. So Michael Garcia said that thanks for the encouraging words, Thou Kim. Keep it up.
You're
So
welcome. You can do it.
Chris Burden, baby clean. I think it's your
What's
brother or
that?
something.
My sister. Yeah.
Your sister, yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, so
Baby.
we have Go Miss Kimberley Burden Gothong by Ligaya. So thank you guys for checking out
Thank
the
you, guys.
live. And if you need to learn, if you want to check out our other episodes, feel free to check us out. We're on Spotify. A lot of our Filipino brothers and sisters and everyone in the
Around the
Philippines actually
world.
are pretty good with Spotify. So if you're listening to music, maybe you can also listen to educational content. Hopefully, you found
Mhm.
value in this interview, right? We are found on Spotify and Apple, of course. So, Joe, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I mean, just aside from saying, Kim, thank you so much for. I know this episode is going to be amazing. So yeah, and definitely it is a really wonderful experience having you here. So thank you so much.
Yes,
Thank you, Joe and Dave.
yes.
Yeah. Since we're about to end, there's just this, one quote I learned yesterday during this masterclass in AIM, and I just wanted to like say this here, especially because most of your audience are budding entrepreneurs. So, my wish really for the business sector is to find more social entrepreneurs. I mean, that's what we really need, and social entrepreneurship in a nutshell is providing entrepreneurial solutions to social problems. And if you're looking for a business idea that is for the common good that will thrive, I hope you think about that. So that's for everyone listening, and everyone who will be listening.
Yeah, so
Right.
that's a
Thank
good
you.
wrap. Thank you
That's a
so
good wrap.
much, Kim. We enjoyed
Thank
this
you,
so
Dave, and
much.
thank you, Joe. I had
Yes.
fun.
Hopefully, we can talk to you again maybe soon. Once it all goes back. Hopefully,
Yeah,
you
when we
all
go back to
thrive.
normal, which we've all been maybe our new normal, which is better than what what we have.
So, guys, for those of our view who are watching, we actually have a lot of people watching this live. So, thank you so much. We appreciate your
Thank
time.
you, guys.
And yes, don't forget to check out our previous episodes. We had a lot of interesting individuals who have come here. Mostly Cebuanos, right? But we're thanks to pandemic, we can now talk to everyone in
Yeah,
the country.
everyone,
So,
everyone's
so,
within
by,
reach.
I like to ask this to Kim. I would like to ask this one last question. How
Mhm.
is there anything that you need help that maybe our audience could help you with right now? Not really.
Well, first, well, maybe for the last closing remark, support your friends' businesses,
All right.
support
Yes.
local. One of the reasons why I really succeeded was that my family and friends were naysayers. They were the ones who really propelled me to how Mrs. Clean is right now because they believed in me. So yeah, please support local businesses. Please support your family
Yes.
and friends' businesses.
All right.
That
So
would be it.
support Mrs. Clean,
I like
support
that.
Big Picture.
Yeah, of course.
Support
Yes.
Joe's business, support my
Yeah.
business, and those who have we've interviewed here. Last week we have Sisig Teriyaki, so support them too. So that's about it for us, Joe.
Thank you.
This is Joe. I mean, this is Dave.
Hi,
That
Dave.
is Joe.
This is Joe, and this is
And that
Kim.
is-
And I'm Kim.
This is Kim. That's Kim saying goodbye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye.